This is Needy and Normal. I'm your host, Ashley Levering, mom, wife, and life coach. After years of coaching and learning from my own life, one thing is clear. Meeting your needs is essential for living your best life. Here, we'll talk about your needs and not only learn to accept them, but also tend to them without guilt. Let's get needy because it's normal. Welcome back to Needy and Normal. I'm so glad you pushed play, and I hope you have carved out a little bit of time in your day to really sit down and listen to this episode with my guest, who not only has a powerful, life-changing story, but it is full of all the emotions, all of them. I'm proud of her. She's amazing. She's a personal friend. She's also the pancreatic cancer surviving poster child of Wisconsin. Please welcome Carol Rubatt. Why not? Why not? There's so many podcasts now that start in this like casual, random manner where you're just chatting back and forth. So sometimes it's really fun. You just see what you catch. Okay, I'm gonna get a little bit closer. This is how. Is this? That's gonna happen. But I figured we're close enough that I can get close to the mic and you won't be like, "What is she doing?" Okay.
I'll pretend you're Robert Redford.
Come closer, no problem. Especially if I had like the Robert Redford buttery voice and
yeah.
My gosh,
that smirk and those eyes and
that's the smolder, right?
Just think how beautiful our children would have been. Him being a redhead, me being a redhead.
Oh my! When was that though? Then how old would he have been when you saw him in person?
Oh, gosh, early 80s.
Oh, then he was gorgeous.
Why was I looking at men's sweaters? Maybe looking for a boyfriend. I mean, really looking for a boyfriend.
I was just looking for sweaters and I found Robert Redford.
Yeah.
What a story would that be? Speaking of stories, I asked Carol to come on the podcast. Oh my gosh, probably like right when I started this thing. I thought one of these days you're going to have to come on and be one of my guests, because besides your incredible story that you're going to share today, one of the reasons I wanted to have you here is because you are one of the brightest, smartest, strongest people I've ever known. And I love telling our meet cute story, if you will. Like we moved here in 2015 and we didn't know anybody. And if you've listened to the show, go back to the beginning. I tell the story of when I first moved here and it was the hardest time of my life, trying to figure out how to be a brand new mom and watch my husband go off to the major leagues to go call baseball and travel way more than he ever had before. I was in a brand new place. I didn't know anybody. And we literally picked this house almost sight unseen. We chose it within 3 days and it was just overwhelming. And Carol walks by with Raleigh, her dog, and comes in and introduces herself like we'd known each other for years and just so, hey, how's it going? And just starts this conversation. And it was so natural and so easy. And I felt very disarmed and very comfortable. And it was a really wild time for me where I almost felt like I needed to isolate myself just to try and get used to my life. And Carol wouldn't let me do that, which was...
I was a pest.
Oh my gosh. You were amazing though, because it's like you knew what I needed before I knew what I needed, which was a friend and someone who's willingly willing to lend a hand and be supportive and be there. And you said... almost every time you came around the corner with Raleigh, say, hey, if you ever need anything. And it wasn't that I was like blowing you off. I just wasn't giving myself that permission to ask for help yet. And I've talked about this on the podcast, how stubborn I was forever just to like hold on to my, stupid strength of I have to do this all by myself. But you were one of the first people here in Wisconsin that I let in. And I thought, okay, wait, I think I might need her. And she feels good, and she feels good to be around and safe. And there was just this easy connection with you. And I took you up on your help. Probably not as much as maybe I could have asked you for more help, but when I really was really needing help, you were my first call always. And I trusted you and I felt good about that. And you were amazing. And I needed you. I needed you a lot. And you know this story. We've talked about this before. There was one day in particular that I was hot. I was so wound up about something, Brock was a toddler at the time, a little toddler, and I was beside myself. I was fuming, and I ran outside to do something, and I saw Carol, and it's like one of those moments where you don't want to see people or deal with yourself or whatever, but I saw Carol, and I was like, oh, hi, Carol. Like, it was so, like, the most giant relief ever. Do you remember that?
I do.
I was fit
yeah.
to be tied.
I do remember that.
I was in the worst mood.
Like, what is wrong with this woman?
Oh my gosh. You probably did. You were like, oh my gosh, she's unhinged.
No, but I got it. I got it.
You did. You raised 3 boys. Mm-hmm. You worked, and I mean, you've lived a lot of lives. So I did. I trusted you and I needed you. And I calmed down after that. As soon as I saw you, I took a few deep breaths and I figured it out. And
well, you had no one.
I did. No one. I had no one. And it was still early, when I lived here. But you were my someone when I had no one. And that I've never forgotten that. And you're still someone. You're still one of my someones. And I'm grateful for our friendship. I'm grateful that you live down the street. And I love being a part of your life. And the girls in our neighborhood love saying, if you need to know something or you're not sure, like, who knows who, or there's something going on, ask Carol, because you're so good at weaving yourself into our community and knowing everybody. You do know everybody. And somehow you always have, like, the news. If there's something going on, you happen to be the one. Like, you're my resource for so many things. I'm like, Carol knows. I bet Carol knows.
I'm the Gladys Kravitz.
You keep our world going. You keep your world going. You're always immersed in something. Are you ever bored? Do you know that's a question I've actually been curious about?
I am not. I wish I was.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
Okay.
My husband always says that in retirement that he got bored. I'm like, what? What? I just never am bored. I always find something to do. Mm-hmm. Even during my bad times, I'm doing something.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't even know if I've seen you sit down very much. Like, you sitting down right now, this is a big deal. You're always on the go. You're always up to something. Mm-hmm. So speaking of being active during, you said, the bad times, there's plenty of good things. And I want to talk about all those good things. But one of the best good things that I get to know about you and I got to witness was watching you survive and beat pancreatic cancer. And you went through hell.
I went through hell.
So take us back. Tell that story in your words.
Very beginning.
Yeah, why not?
August 20th, 2020.
2020.
COVID. Taking care of my 2-year-old granddaughter. We're at the park. I'm just fine. We're doing all these fun things. I'm running around, being an active grandma. I'm doing the monkey bars and I'm fine. I'm a healthy woman. I work out all the time. I'm in great shape. And I take her home, drop her off. I don't even get out of the subdivision. I have to pull over and throw up. And I'm like, whoa, where'd that come from? I must be getting the flu. So this went on for 6 days. I went to the doctor twice and they go, it's probably just a bug. It's a bug. And I'm like, but I don't feel sick. I'm not achy. I don't think it's a bug. So I called my physician, who I've known since he was 12, and said, Drew, something's not right here. He says, come on in. He goes, we'll do a CT scan. And we did. And he goes, oh, it's probably your gallbladder, giving you problems or whatever. Let's take a look at this. So I'm in this room waiting and waiting and waiting, throwing up and throwing up. And all of a sudden, he came in there twice going, I don't know. He goes, they must be really busy. We haven't gotten the results yet. And then he comes in, the final time he came in, he just goes, it's not good news. And he puts his arms around me and tells me it's pancreatic cancer. And obviously you just are shocked. You're just shocked. I'm like, what? I can't believe this. And so I called my husband, who was at my son's house. Again, it's COVID. So he's working from home. My husband was over there taking care of our two granddaughters because we just got a second one 2 months before, and I was supposed to start watching her now. And I go, Drew wants to talk to you. And he knew right then and there, this isn't good. And he tells him. And, everybody just shut down. John comes back right away to meet me I had to go into the emergency room to take an ambulance to Fredert. And, Matt just shut down because of work. He couldn't work anymore. He had to take care of his girls. And I then went to the emergency room. But before that, I called one of my sisters just to tell her to tell the family. And my mom was 97 at the time. And again, no one was going into her house because it's COVID, And I went to the emergency room. They put a tube down my nose as I'm throwing up.
Oh my gosh.
It was just awful, and the COVID test, so I'm gagging and throwing up.
Awful.
and all that. And then John met me there, but then immediately they rushed me by ambulance to Fredert. And the reason they did that is because the tumor was blocking my stomach, and that's why I was throwing up. And they were so afraid of something bursting, and that would cause a lot more issues. And I just remember being in that ambulance and just crying, and then thinking like, well, I was 65 and a half. I had 10 years of retirement. A lot of people don't get that. I was very fortunate. I got to retire at 55. And I thought, my kids are all grown, independent, successful. They're all doing well. They'll be okay. They'll be okay. And then I went, shit, I'm never going to collect Social Security.
Oh my gosh. That's a lot of thoughts.
It's a lot of thoughts. But it's something you work all your life for, and then like, holy cow, I'm not ever going to get this. Because I think I'm going to be dead in a couple of months.
See, I didn't think you thought that right away. You're in the ambulance. This is just beginning. And what I knew of you was there's no way she's thinking about death right now.
Oh, of course you're thinking about it.
You can't not.
Pancreatic is a death sentence.
It's scary, yeah.
And, I even took a selfie of myself in the ambulance, to show everybody what I looked like at that point. And I'll never forget, my daughter-in-law calls me while I'm in the ambulance. She doesn't know this yet, but she knew I went in. And then I said, oh, Sarah, she said, well, how'd things go? She goes, is it a bowel blockage? And I go, oh, Sarah, hasn't Matt talked to you yet? And she goes, no, she was on break. She just wanted to call me quickly, and he didn't want to interrupt her because she's a physical therapist and just couldn't take calls easily. And I go, no, it's pancreatic cancer. And there was just like dead silence. She's just like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And then she had to go back to work knowing this. And she goes, I finished up with my patients and she goes, I just couldn't believe it at all. Yeah.
This all happened so fast.
Oh.
You went in to deal with a stomach ache, or not even a stomach ache. You were just throwing up.
Just throwing up.
To finding out the same day within the hour that you had cancer.
Yeah, well, it was 6 days, of throwing up.
But when you finally went in, you
Yes.
found out the same day.
Yes. So go to Fredert. I met by a team of doctors, And I met this wonderful doctor, Dr. Higgins, who performed a gastrojejudomoscopy. I don't say it as medically as I should, but they rerouted my intestines, attached it to my stomach so I could eat again. I was in the hospital for 6 days. When they did that operation, my daughter, who is a gynecological oncologist, was talking to her and asked her, "Did you see any cancer floating around when you were in there?" And she goes, "No, I didn't." That was my first sign of hope, that it didn't spread, because you don't get a lot of hope with pancreatic. And it didn't. So I was in there for 6 days. I was very fortunate that my husband could come in and visit me, because again, it's COVID. If you knew my husband, he made friends with the security guard and whomever on his way there. So once when they tried to sneak my son in and pretend that he was John, the security guard goes, "No, you're not."
Because yeah, I know who John is.
Everybody
We're friends.
But he was kind enough and let him in.
Oh, good.
Because he came home from Denver to be with me, and so he got to spend a day with me there too. So then they did, the biopsy. They put a port in me. They did all these things and so forth. And I also met Dr. Evans at that time. And I remember when I was talking to Drew, I go, "Drew, who do I go to? What doctor?" And he mentioned him. And he goes, "He's the best. He's the best." Well, I didn't know he was the best. And then our daughter, she's looking up who's the best, because her being a doctor, she's got some connections. She's checking out, MD Anderson, Johns Hopkins, and so forth. And she calls, she goes, "I think you got the best. My doctor is world renowned." And he's just a great guy. He's just a great human being besides the best doctor. And so I felt really good, and I met him. And then, they did the biopsy and all this. So that all happened. Well, I got admitted on the 26th. 26th of August is when I found out I had cancer. September 7th, I met him with the oncologist, and they discussed a plan. And one of the things that he said that just elated my husband, he goes, "I'm giving you a 70% chance we can cure this." Well, 70% is pretty darn good. But I still have to think about, well, somebody's got to be in that 30%. You think that. I'm going to do what I can do. I trust this doctor that he's going to do what he can do. But there's still that little unknown. You just don't know what's going to happen, how you're going to react, and so forth, what's going to happen. So by September 15th, I'm on chemo. That quickly. And chemo's rough. They gave me 3 different kinds at 100%, and it was awful. It was awful. I only threw up once, though, so I give myself credit for that.
That's impressive.
It was every other week. So you don't really feel it for a few days, and then all of a sudden it just hits you, and it's just like, everybody goes, "Well, how do you feel? How does this make you feel?" I go, it's hard to explain. I never was on chemo before. You can't explain it to anybody. It's crappy. There's poison in you.
Yeah.
I remember saying to my nurses who were administering it, they get all these gowns on and masks and this and that, and I go, you protect yourself so well, and yet you'll inject poison into me.
Oh my gosh, they must have loved you.
Oh, I loved going for chemo.
know. I could quote you on that.
I would walk in there and go, I'm here for Camp Chemo.
Oh my gosh, of course you did.
I had so much fun with these nurses. One of them I still am in contact with.
Oh.
You know, a lot of them have left there. They're not there anymore. But one I'm still in contact with. And yeah, I just really enjoyed my time with them. We just had fun and the conversations and this and that, our doggies and kids and whatever, you know, it just was a good time with them. They treated me well. And I walked out of there feeling okay, but then a few days later, like, oh, Camp Chemo really sucked.
Oh my gosh. I remember you had it down to a science. Because you would still walk. You would still get outside.
Still walked.
You never stopped moving. And that always was just so, I was so in awe of you. But I remember you would stop at the house and you would say, like you had it down to a science. You're like, yeah, I go in for chemo and then a few days later I'll start to feel it. But for now I'm in that window. And you knew. You started really tracking yourself.
Oh, sure. You know. And they always tell you, exercise, walk. And I'll tell you, sometimes it just took longer for me to get up, to get the gumption to get up, than I actually spent walking. But once I started walking, I was so glad I did it, you know, and then I collapsed. Then after 4 weeks of chemo, the plan was I was going to have chemo and then radiation and then my Whipple, which we haven't even explained yet, at the end of March. So I qualified for the only possible cure for pancreatic cancer, and that is a Whipple. And a Whipple, they will remove part of your pancreas, part of your stomach, gallbladder, part of your intestines, bile duct, and that's basically it. Apparently they all share a blood vessel, and that's why you have to take part of all that to get the margins so that you don't have cancer remaining.
Wow.
And this was invented back in like 1930, this idea, but people died soon after. You know, it took many, many, many decades to be perfected. And thank goodness for Dr. What was his name? Alfred or Alan? Old Father Whipple, something like that.
You're so good at remembering the details.
You know, well, you gotta look this guy up who saved your life, you know.
Yes, fair.
You know, I mean, many people died during this, you know, but, you know, it's just how technology has changed and medicine has changed and so forth. So anyways, so then they wanted to examine me, do a CT to see how I'm reacting to chemo. I wasn't reacting well to it. You know, my tumor wasn't doing what they wanted it to do. So the tumor board met and they go, okay, we're going to get her on radiation with chemo now. We're going to up her surgery date 2 months. They wanted to shrink this. This is something I also didn't say. So one thing Dr. Evans told me when I first met him, he told me I was borderline resectable, which meant I can't go in there right now and take this out. You have to shrink this. So I was borderline. It was wrapped around the mesenteric vein. We need to shrink this. So radiation helped, you know, it helped a little bit, but they decided we're going to get this out sooner, so they changed my date till the end of January. So along with chemo, I was getting radiation, a whole month of radiation in December. And then in that December, for Christmas, all 4 kids were home. And what they did is they knew that I always said if I ever won the lottery, I would put on a brand new pair of Bamba socks every day. And they contacted Bombas, and Bombas sent me 365 pairs of socks.
I love it.
I know it.
There's an amazing photo of this, by the way, of you sitting in your pile of socks.
My pile of socks by the Christmas tree. Exactly, exactly. So obviously, I gave a lot to my doctors, my nurses, and so forth, my friends, because 365 is a lot, and I still have some I have that have never been worn.
Oh my gosh, that's
You know,
amazing.
so I did not put on a brand new pair every day.
But you said obviously you gave some away, but that's a you thing. You
Yeah.
obviously immediately thought, ooh, who can I share these with?
But my radiologist, I gave him a pair. He had never heard of them before, and then when I told him the story, that he goes, I love that. I love that. That's all I'm going to buy now, because for every pair you purchase, they donate. You know, and yeah, so I gave away a lot of them to the people who helped me through this.
Yeah.
So where are we at now? Okay, so I went through radiation end of December, and 2 weeks later I'm just wiped out from everything. But I had a month to recover, and then January 29th of 2021 I have this Whipple surgery. Now, before I went in for surgery, Dr. Evans told me, he goes, the first thing I'm going to do is go in laparoscopically. If I see any cancer floating around, I will abort the surgery, and there's nothing more I can do for you as a surgeon.
To hear that.
I know, and it's a small percentage, but again, somebody's got to be in that percentage. I know somebody that this happened to, and but one thing I also knew is he was going to take a vein from my neck to replace the mesenteric one. So when I went in for surgery, I don't know if I was under an hour or if it was 10 hours. You just don't know. When I woke up, the first thing I did was I grabbed my neck to see if I had a bandage on it. And that way I knew I had the Whipple.
Wow.
Yeah. And it also was pretty sore. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I
but
bet.
right away I knew I had it. And yeah, and it is a significant surgery. They say that it's more so than a transplant. It's the surgery of all surgeries. They ended up taking 60% of my pancreas, half my stomach, part of my intestines, gallbladder, bile duct, and unfortunately a sphincter muscle and a nerve, which to this day caused me a lot of issues, pain and control. And I went through that this morning. I can't tell you how many days I feel like I'm in labor and go, there better be a baby after all of this.
Oh, your attitude.
It's not nearly as bad as it used to be. It used to be a lot worse and last a lot longer. But you just live through it. This is who I am now.
Yeah. Well.
And I've been doing fine. It's a challenging life. I can't eat a lot of foods. I have to take enzymes with everything that I eat because I'm not. Is it producing or processing? I can't remember the carbs, the proteins, and something else. So I'm sorry, I'm at a loss for words right now.
Well, you're amazing with words. Your knowledge about your everything is amazing.
And, but I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. And, living life, going on family vacations, got another granddaughter since then, thinking that they're never going to know me, and they do. They do. I'm still taking care of, well, they're all in school except for Mia, who's now 17 months, and I still take care of her once a week. She's such a chunk. I have a compression fracture, not from her, but from all this crap.
Yeah.
That because of malabsorption. Oh gosh, that's another thing. I was under 100 pounds. When I went into surgery, I think when I got sick, originally I was 135. I got myself up to 140 because he said fatten yourself up, and I tried and I loved it. And and then because he says you're going to lose a lot of weight, and I lost a lot of weight and was under 100 pounds, and I'm 115 and just holding at 115. He'd like me to be more, but that's where I'm at. But I still work out. I still lift weights. I do yoga. I can, not like I did, nothing like I did, but I'm doing okay. I'm living life, and yeah.
You don't stop. Nothing seems to stop you.
Well, you can't. You just can't. Well, yeah, I do stop. I'm laying around a lot. But when I'm laying around, I'm still doing stuff. I'm just doing whatever I can do. But yeah, it is. But yeah, everything's just going fine. And we went on a great family vacation this summer with everybody to Colorado. Loved it. And then I had a routine scan on August 4th. And it's been 4.5 years. And the scan comes back. They found a lesion on my liver. So that's where I'm at now. Had it biopsied. It is the same cancer. So it's reoccurrence of pancreatic cancer. And I went in, saw Dr. Evans, and he says, okay, we're going to take care of this right away, get this biopsied. He goes, I want this done right away. She is my ultra VIP. He and I did a video together about my journey a few years ago that you can see on YouTube. And so I had the biopsy to show that it was the same pancreatic. CT scans, MRIs, PET scan, thankfully that showed it's nowhere else in my body, so another positive. So now I have to start radiation next week, get some mega zaps, concentrate on that area, so we don't want it to affect the kidneys that are nearby, the colon, the ribs, and so forth. And then after that, I gotta go back on chemo. And that's going to be about 4 months of chemo. It should just be an oral one, not nearly the dosage that I was getting before. But that's where I'm at right now. And it's a bump in the road. But it sucks.
Yeah.
4.5 years, And, I knew I was in a small percentage. Like 5% make it 5. I'm so doggone close, But I always thought, I'm already a small percentage. I'm a redhead. Can I be in another small percentage?
Yeah, why not?
I don't know. So I'll get there.
Well, and you're really good at staying strong and staying positive. And I know you well enough to know that you're also realistic with yourself. So having both of those feelings, which one's stronger? Which one takes the lead? Does it trade off, or are you more on the I'm optimistic right now?
Oh, I'm optimistic.
Good.
I know what I have to go through. Before, I didn't know what it was going to be like. Mm-hmm. And you're just like, I just don't want to go through this again. I have a trip to Disney planned with the family the beginning of December. I'm going to be on chemo. Things like that. But, that's, you just think ahead. You just, I hate putting my family through this. I think that's the hardest thing, is to see the sadness in my children, my husband. I always was a strong one for them. They could come to me with their issues. I hate to do this to them. I just hate to do this to them.
But you're not doing it to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
I wouldn't choose it.
No, it's
I wouldn't
happening.
choose. It's happening. You're right. It's happening. It's just, yeah. Yeah. I'll never forget when I came home to find out what Dr. Evans had to say the very first time. You know, when we found out, I'm giving you a 70% chance that I can cure this. I'll just never forget. I got home, and within 30 seconds, who's at my door but my cousin Beth? I'm like, I haven't even told my family yet. You know, and then you just realize how important I was to her. You know, because I have gotten her through so much. You know, I had to be there for her when her mom died. And so forth, and for her kids and so forth. And you kind of just realize your importance.
That's a good thing to know.
Yeah.
And hard.
Yeah. And you know, I taught high school for 32 years, and I can't believe my former students who found out about this. You know, and it just, I just recently put something on Caring Bridge, and one of my former students who graduated like in '88, I haven't heard from him since he graduated, and how he found me on Caring Bridge. And I told him on Caring Bridge, I go, if you see this, please contact me. I want to know how you found me. And he told me, he goes, I just once Googled some of my favorite teachers. And he goes, and I found this out about you. You know, and just, yeah, it's unbelievable, you know, that the impact that you make on people, and you just don't realize it until something happens. And fortunately, this is stupid to say, but fortunately, I got to see this before I do die. You know, it's kind of like, oh my gosh, this is like my own living wake.
Yeah, you get to see how important you are to people.
Yeah, because a lot of times you don't know this. You know,
you got a lot of people.
You know, if I would have not been one of those lucky ones and been dead in a couple of months, none of this would have occurred. You know.
See, your attitude is amazing. This is how you've made so much impact. It's just who you are and how you unknowingly become someone to someone else.
Right. You know, I'm just little old me. And now a lot less of me. And but yeah, it's just, yeah, it's been a journey I would not wish on anyone. But yet I'm grateful for it in many ways.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So then how did you do this? How did you do the thing where you're always showing up for others? You're always strong for others, holding someone's hand through something hard. How did you switch it to where you get to be the person who needs that kind of support? Are you still working on that?
I think I am.
Okay.
So many people, what can I do for you? You know, just pray. You know, I'm fine. You know, I'm fine. You know, yeah, that, you know, I'm very independent. I don't open myself up easily to people. You know, it's just, if I need something, I'll ask. But, you know, one thing we set up for me was meals. You know, Matt set that up, and that was great. And now people say, should we do it again? I go, well, I hardly can eat anything. You know? Chicken and fish and fillets, you know.
Fillets.
Yeah, that's like the only red meat I can handle. But yeah, it's just, It is, you know. I said to John, I said, should we get somebody to do the raking this, you know, and stuff like that? He goes, I can do it. I can still do it, you know. He goes, if I need help, we'll get the help. And, you know, I mean, we only got, of our four kids, only one is around here, and he's busy with his three daughters. So, but they're all coming home, you know, soon to see me, to be with me for a while. That was the beauty of COVID. They could be here and stay, you know, because they worked from my house then. You know, they could stay for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were surrounded.
Yeah. Whether I wanted to be or not.
You are a pretty independent person. That's for sure. Sharing space and cohabitating almost.
Yeah. It's just, it's funny.
But what is it? Like, what's the trick for you to get through and get by? What keeps you positive? What keeps you strong? Like, what's the magic recipe for you?
My family. You know, I don't want to die. I don't want to, you know. I want my family. I want to see what the grandkids become. I would just want to be part of their lives. I don't want them to be without me, whether they, you know, whether I'm a pain in the ass or not. You're stuck with me.
I love that.
Yeah, it's just, no, I'm just, you know, my mom lived to be 99 and a half and they were just healthy years, you know. She still was in the house she grew up in. And then when I got sick, you know, there's a part of you like, geez, I thought I was going to be like that, you know, and then you just realize, you know, gosh, that may not happen. That may not happen, but...
Well, it's your journey.
Yeah. But I also have to say, the Leverings gave me so much love and support. I had the most wonderful blanket to cuddle with in the hospital and at home that they gave me with all these positive statements. I still have my wristband on that says Carol's Crew. We got this. My whole family still does. Some of them have turned blue because they haven't taken them off. Yeah.
But I remember not arguing, but Jeff and I went back and forth about we've got this or I've got this, and
it's a we.
Yeah, and that was the thing we settled on. Like, it's a we. It's your village.
Yeah, I can't do this by myself.
Well, that's the magic then.
Yeah.
We've got your back.
Yeah. Definitely.
So, if someone's starting a journey where they've gotten a diagnosis, and granted, you said it, pancreatic cancer is a pain in the ass to beat, and you've done it, which is proof it's possible.
It's possible.
But someone who's facing this for the first time, what kind of advice do you give them?
That's a tough one. Because I could get a wibble.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would tell somebody who can't get it. They don't want to talk to me. You know, because I was a success. You know, and many people have said to me, would you want to talk to so-and-so? And I go, can they get the Whipple? More than happy to talk to someone about that. I was very fortunate in being able to talk to two gentlemen, one that Ashley and Jeff set me up with, about it and their journey. One scared me to death. Talked about the recovery and the pain and this and that, like he couldn't even go up the stairs and this and then, like, oh my gosh. He was wrong. I did fine.
Oh, I love that.
The other one, he didn't think the recovery was so bad, and he went through a lot worse than me. He had his whole pancreas removed, his spleen, had to have back surgery before the Whipple,
Oh,
and all
wow.
this. Yeah,
Well, everyone's journey's their own. That's a good point, though.
Right.
So, okay, someone comes to you. They've got their pancreatic cancer diagnosis. They are a Whipple candidate. Even giving them advice, that's like you're just proving it's different for everybody, no matter what you say.
Yes, but you'll get through it. You'll get through it. It's hell. I was very fortunate, did not have any complications, no infections, and so forth. Had my surgery on the 29th. I came home on the 5th. My birthday was February 7th, and that was my goal, to be home by my birthday, and I came home on the 5th. But as soon as I came home, I wanted to go right back to the hospital. Just felt a little safer there.
Take care of me.
Yeah, I got all these guys here. Well, anyways, but it's a journey. It's a journey, and don't ever set a timeline that you want to be healthy by this point or that point. You can't set a timeline. It will come. If you set a timeline, you're not going to get there, and then you're going to feel defeated. And then me being the person that I am, I went into this so strong and healthy, and I said, I am going to be the poster child. I'm going to be the poster child. Well, I wasn't. I wasn't at first. I do think I became it.
Yes, I think you did.
But I wasn't at first. And I remember saying to my husband, I'm not the poster child. It took a long time, a few months. Oh, and then I was back on chemo again, by the way. Oh, God. Which really gets you. But, I should say it can take a year. I think it took a good year before I finally said, I remember this feeling. I feel kind of good again. I feel kind of good again. But you're never going to feel like you did before because you've been whippled. Life has changed for you. You have to accept that change. You have to know that it's going to change and be so willing to accept it. But what's the alternative?
Powerful point.
Yeah. But you got to give yourself time. Yeah.
That's good advice.
Yeah. You got to give yourself a lot of time. But also work at it. Work at it. Do what you're supposed to do. The day after my Whipple, I walked a mile in the hospital.
The day after your Whipple,
day after my Whipple,
you walked a mile?
A mile in the hospital. Not all at once, but I walked a mile. And every day after that, I did.
Don't stop.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you learn anything new about yourself going through all of this? Anything that surprised you? Well, I guess so. I don't want to be so modest, like, I figured I could do it. You just realize your inner strength. I think, I remember one person saying to me, I used to think that your boys got their toughness from their dad. They go, no, they got it from you. I go, oh, you're darn right they did. Absolutely.
You're darn right, yeah. No, I knew I was a tough cookie.
Yeah, we all know that
I
about
taught
you.
high school. Come on.
Yeah, right? Oh my gosh. That would scare me to death to walk into a classroom full of just eyes of teenagers. We've all known that about your village, everyone who supports you and loves you. We all know that about you. We all know how strong you are. So that wasn't new information. You knew that about yourself.
I knew it.
Yeah.
I knew it. But there always is that part you can't control. If I could control everything, I never would have gotten pancreatic cancer.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh gosh. Of
right?
course. Of course.
I mean, I made myself healthy. I didn't smoke. I didn't drink. I ate well, exercised. I did what I was supposed to do. I was not a candidate for this. Yeah.
How long were you angry for? Like, how do you not be angry that
I
you were
don't
so
know.
healthy?
You know, I was told, don't ever go, why me? Because why not me? You know, why am I so special that it shouldn't happen to me? You know, I don't know if it really was anger. You know, I was upset that it happened. You know, and you're like, God, you know, you talk to God like, what? You know, like, really? You know, but I never was really mad at him. I had a neighbor who told me that she was so mad at God, and this is the most religious person I know, and I'm like, how can you be mad at him? You know, if this is his plan, this is his plan, and maybe he's just testing me. You know, I really don't feel I ever had anger. I think I have a little more now that it came back. You know,
Fair.
but yeah, I mean there's something there. But you know, you have to accept it. You just have to accept it and deal with it and run with it. Because what is anger going to get you?
Well, that's the power of your inner strength too. I mean, it's not just what your body can do and how healthy you keep it and how much you're able to endure and get through. It's that inner strength, that mental outlook, that mindset ability. Like that's an enormous strength that you have.
You know, and you don't know you have it until something like this happens to you. Because a lot of people would say to me, I could never do this. And I go, oh, yes, you could. You have to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why would you not? You know.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So we talked about this before we pushed record, but I asked the question with all my guests. And I sort of asked you this in the way of like, what kind of advice would you give to somebody who's, you know, been diagnosed, is a candidate for the Whipple? So partial answer there, but the question is, what would you go back in time and tell your healthy self or your newly diagnosed self? Like, which Carol would need you to sit down with her and just have a chat? Be like, I'm here for you. Let me tell you some things. Such a loaded question.
It is.
So it's like, who would you go back of yourself to talk to, and when, and what would you say?
You got me. Who would need to hear from me? Oh, goodness. Well, I guess the person right now has to look back at the person 5 years ago, because I'm going through this again. And I got to get that same strength. I'm 5 years older. There's a lot less of me. You know, I'm still me, you know, but like I think, do I physically have it in me? Mentally, yes. Emotionally, yes. But I'm worried about the physical part. So I have to go back to that person and find that.
So it's the other way around. The strong Carol from 5 years ago needs to have a chat with you now.
Mm-hmm.
What would she say?
You got this. You got this. It's not going to be pretty. You know, it's not going to be pretty at times. Which brings me up to my granddaughter, who now knows I have cancer and doesn't quite understand it. You know, she's only 7, and she asked me if I was going to die. And I'm like, nope, I'm not. And I said, but you're going to see me not feeling good. I said, the medicine that you take makes you feel better. They're going to give me medicine that doesn't make me feel better. How do you explain that to a 7-year-old?
Yeah.
But that medicine, in the long run, will make me better. I have to go through some hard times, and you're going to see me not feeling good and maybe not being able to do things with you. But in the future, I'll be able to do more.
You're amazing. And how perfectly explained. I mean, I think adults need to hear things explained. Like you explain things to a 7-year-old, but that was perfectly said.
Yeah.
And real. It's real.
Yes. It's what it is, and they have to realize this. And I hate, I hate for her to have to see this happen to her grandma. Oh, I think I had just found out that my cancer was back, and I was taking care of her. And she stayed overnight, and she came in bed with me, and we're just watching TV. And she goes, "Oh, Grandma," she goes, "I just want to live with you forever." And I just wanted to burst into tears. And I go, "You will."
How do we end this today? What message do you want to share? Like, what final words of our conversation? I mean,
Oh,
wow.
you never know when the other shoe is going to drop. You just don't. Had I known this, maybe we would have done things differently, gotten more traveling in and so forth. John was still working until 2018. And then we did, we went away. We did some traveling, but I just would have done more. And I remember one of the teachers at the high school, she retired at 57, and she goes, "You know what? You're the reason I'm retiring." She goes, "If this can happen to you, it can happen to anyone. So live your life. Do things now. You just never know."
I'm glad you're a part of my life. I'm glad to know you. You inspire me. You're going to inspire a lot more people with this. I know it's a lot to ask to share everything you shared, but it matters. And you matter. You matter to us. And I've held it together this whole podcast episode, and I'm going to go cry my face off. And then I'm going to go put on my big girl shorts and my bracelet, and I'm going to back you up like crazy.
Oh,
I love you.
I love you.
Thank you for this. You're amazing. And you will beat this.
I will beat this.
You will. You've done it once. You can do it again.
I can.
Thank you so much for listening to this very special episode. If you or someone you care for is going through cancer, feel free to share this episode with them. Whether you're a caregiver or a patient, your needs matter because you matter. For more information about pancreatic cancer, see the show notes. And to see Carol's video on YouTube with her doctor, Dr. Doug Evans, also in the show notes. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time. Take care. Thank you for listening to the Needy and Normal podcast. If you liked what you heard today, please share this with a friend, and don't forget to rate and review the show before you go. The Needy and Normal podcast is brought to you by ABL Life Coaching. Visit ablifecoaching.com to learn about coaching with a transition life coach. Today, I am now accepting new clients for the fall season. And don't forget to follow Needy and Normal Pod and ABL Life Coaching on Instagram.